thumbs up if you can hear me. We are on. I don't know why there's a blank screen. I had something up here, but it's not on, so that's okay. We'll get started in just one sec. Okay, we can go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for joining me. And actually, I'm gonna put on this little microphone and actually get rid of some of the echo. So I hope you guys can hear me okay. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank you guys so much for subscribing to me on X and keeping up your subscription. I know about, the 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had super red days, I lost like 20 subscribers. I also had a couple of people that they didn't unsubscribe, they just kind of shut it down for a little bit and were like, I'm not messing around with the market right now because it's too choppy and it's red and so on and so forth, which is totally fine. But the people that stuck around, as you can see, it's good that you did. The choppiness and the red days they're just a part of the stock market. And those are the times you want to take advantage and learn, even if you're a little too scared or you don't want to lose. Everything I say is repeating. Okay, well, let's see. Let me try something. Okay, I took the microphone off, so tell me if this is better. I wish there was a way I could hear myself. But anyway, hopefully this is okay. If it's not, let me know. I'll put the microphone back on. Okay, sound is fine on my end. Okay, so now I have the mic off and I'm just using my phone. So if it was better the other way, let me know. I can put it back on. But either way, so I want you guys to anybody that's still around and listening to this, to please understand we're going to have red days. We're going to have red weeks. We may have red months. We may have a red year. That is absolutely not the time to quit. Better the other way. Okay, let me go back the other way. Okay. I got the mic back on, so you guys can let me know. So that's not the time to quit. Red is just red. It doesn't mean you have to throw all your money in if you're fearful, but that's the time to learn. So, I've already gone over this 100 times, but especially for my new people, I was trading all my trading money in 2021. It was a bull market. Everything was up. You couldn't go wrong. It was great. The biggest mistake is that I bought a bunch of leaps, which was, I was under the impression that the stock market always goes up, which it does long term, not necessarily short term. So I had bought all these leaps, and then in 2022 we went into a bear market, and I lost like $20,000. That was gone. I wasn't just down 20; I was gone 20 because I had bought all these leaps. So $20,000 down the drain. I was very, very upset. And me and a lot of other people in 2022, I was about to just throw in the towel and say, I'm not doing this anymore. Instead, I was like, no, I'm getting my $20,000 back. Somebody on the other end of this trade made 20 grand. Well, these trades made 20 grand, and I want to be that person. And that's what pushed me into learning how to sell puts. So, and sell calls. So red days does not mean quit. Red weeks does not mean quit. Red weeks is either when you start putting more money in, and I don't mean throw every penny in that you have, but you start DCAing into current positions, or you start selling more cash secured puts slowly. That's when you do these things, or you take the time to learn, which means paper trading and just doing things that you need to learn how to do. for longevity in the stock market. So hopefully you guys are here for the long term, because I am. I, own a salon, and I do hair in my salon, and I don't plan on quitting my job. I make my own hours so I can be here every morning for market open, and then I go to work, and, each break that I have, I can look at the market and place trades or just look at my trades. So I'm definitely a stock market addict. So I do plan on, at some point when I retire in life, to be able to have a consistent income with this. So my goal right now is to build up my portfolio to the point where selling options replaces my current income, which would, I do well now, but it doesn't replace my current income, nor would I want to retire at this point anyway. But at the end of this video, or later, I don't want to bore all of you guys, I'm going to go over what I made in 2025, month by month, and why I made what I did. So stick around for that if you're interested at all. Okay, so let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. First of all, somebody said something about BBAI. What are we doing with BBAI if it keeps running up? Sweet spot is 6 and under, moving to another name. No, because as long as it stays, at 7-ish, maybe even 8-ish, depending, we could still sell puts, and get a $6 cost basis. That's the good thing about BBAI and not being leveraged. Because when a name like TSLL runs up, I'm so sorry, my dog. When a name like TSLL runs up, it runs up so much that it's almost not. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, my little dog is so squeaky. I don't want her to hurt your ears. um, so when it runs up, we can still sell puts. Now, when it runs up past 8, we will no longer be able to sell puts. And it, God, sorry. It definitely can. It can run up to 10. I mean, even more, but I've seen it run up to 10 this year. So it can. I'm so sorry. And at that point, we will not be able to sell puts, obviously. God, it's like they know I'm on the phone. So anyway, yeah. So, but of course, we do have a list of 10 names or more that we can trade. They're all going to be up and down. Like yesterday was perfect. TSLL ran up. We were able to take profits. I took a lot of that money and put it in BBAI, cash secured puts. So we'll have our ups and downs, and the fact that we have different names in different sectors, that helps. So yeah, just because one of our names runs up beyond our sweet spot, we'll move on to a different name. Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. Hang on one sec. Give me 1 second. So we'll just move on to the next name. So let me see. I actually just posted a video this morning about my profits from last week, and a whole breakdown in detail of each name and how much I made. So if you guys want to go back and watch that, I think it'll help you just learn about each stock and kind of what I'm doing with it and how much I'm making on it. As far as like what we were just saying about BBAI when it runs up. So RedCat, for instance, it's up 10% today or 9% today. It's doing amazing. It's still down though. It is still down 13% on the month. I was trading this trying to get in under $10. I thought at the time $10 was the sweet spot, and now we're down to 8, and 8, that's after a 10% run up. So and for the last 3 months, it's down 4%. Year to date, it's down 36%. So even though it's up today and maybe up on the week, it's still down. So that's one that we could easily continue trading. I've got a lot of shares of it right now, so I'm not trying to jump in much more at the moment. But as soon as I lose those shares, I will definitely be jumping back in that one heavily, especially under $10. So our sweet spots vary, and there's always going to be another stock or ETF that we can trade when one is above our sweet spot. So let's see, Mary, BBAI trades have been so good lately. Yeah, BBAI and TSLL are my two main right now. Like I'm heavy in both of them, and I continue to go heavy in both of them going into 2026. That is my main plan. All the other names that I'm in, some I'm just, which I'm going to go over in a minute, but some are the ones that I'm testing out, like EOSE. I'm just testing it. Some I've been in HIMZ. I'm just testing. But some of the others I've been trading all year, but I just don't go heavy in them. Not that I wouldn't, but I have no reason to when I've got TSLL and BBAI. The other ones I'm just kind of using to diversify and keep my portfolio diversified. It is not, you don't have to do that when trading. Like when you're investing, you want to have a little bit of each sector so that if healthcare drops and tech is up, or crypto related stocks are up and tech drops, that your whole portfolio doesn't feel the pain. With trading, you don't need to be in every sector. As a matter of fact, it's best not to be. You don't want to you don't want to have two contracts of each name. Once you're, once you're large enough where you're actively trading, you don't want to be in 20 different names. You just don't want to. Like, it's too much to keep up with, and there's just no reason to. You need to have your names that you like to trade and stick to them, rinse and repeat. It makes your life so much easier, and not having to keep up with a ton of names will make your life easier as well. So yeah, so that's that. Let's see. I prefer red days. Panic, throw red days. I like red days too, and I agree that green days are boring. But those 2 weeks that we had red every single day with one green, it was a little much for me, and it was a little much for a lot of people, especially the ones that have gone through 2022, and that's what we saw. It was like 4 days of red and then 1 day of green to get your hopes up, and then another 4 days of red and 1 day of green to get your hopes up, and then you go throughout the year, and the whole market was down. I don't know how much, but it was a lot. And none of us want to go into a bear market. Red days, great. Red weeks, hey, that's great. And I'm always here to like calm everybody's nerves. But going into a bear market would not be fun. Just because we could still trade in a bear market. As long as you keep money on the sidelines, which I tell everybody to do, we can continue trading all through a bear market. Makes no difference. It makes zero difference to us. But if we're in a bunch of positions where our money would be tied up, it definitely is not good. You don't want all your money tied up where you can't do anything. Can you guys still hear me? I think it stopped. Okay, here we go. So we definitely don't want all our money tied up where you can't do anything and you're just kind of stuck sitting there on the sidelines waiting for some green. So that goes to my next point. I want to talk about number one, keeping money on the sidelines, and two, selling covered calls on green days. It is very, very important to continue selling covered calls on green days. Because we don't know how long they're going to last in this choppy market. We're choppy, we go up, we go down, we have red, we have green. Sometimes we have major red and major green on the same day. So it is important to, when you see green, go ahead and sell your covered calls. And how I'm working it right now, this is not always how I work it, but right now I am looking for a $1 move up from my cost basis on each stock. Not necessarily TSLL, because that one moves a lot faster. A dollar move for TSLL is nothing. But in all of our other plays, as far as like RCAT, BBAI, what else do we have? Bull, the basic regular stocks, not leveraged. I'm looking for a $1 move. So where I have, RCAT, I've got that, and I'm selling covered calls $1 above my cost basis, and I'll happily lose my shares. No problem. Especially because, the ones that you have $1,000 on, you can make $1,000. Just sell your covered calls and you can make $1,000. Let me get back over here to my E-Trade. I just kind of want to see where everything's at right now. Okay, so today is a flat day. Okay, so yeah, we've had a little up, we've had a little down. Some stocks are up, some stocks are down, but overall, so far this morning, it has been a flat day, which seems a little boring. But for those people that don't know this, we for the sellers of options, calls and puts, sellers of options, the decay on your contracts is still working in your favor. So it could sit here and do nothing the rest of the week and not move again next week, and you're going to be making money. The buyer of the contracts is going to be losing money. And if you don't know what that is, I think I may have done a video, but if not, you can just look it up. The theta and the deltas, that is the decay of your contract. So the higher that number is, the higher, the faster your contracts are decaying, and that's a good thing for the seller. So if you've ever noticed how your stock can sit in one spot all day long, but yet your premium or your amount being made is going up, your total gain percentage is going up, that's why, because the contracts are decaying in your favor. So it might be kind of a boring day, but that's okay. Also, I want to just talk to anyone new that has just joined my group. Some of the stocks that were in like BBAI and some of them that aren't moving a lot right now, and you may even be a little bit bored with them, or you're just kind of like, they're not doing much. That is the best case scenario. If you've got a high IV, which is implied volatility, which means higher premiums paid, and you don't have the stock moving a lot, that's great, because we could sit here and sell $5.50 and $6 BBAI cash secured puts all day long and not have to worry about anything, because it's just kind of sitting in that one spot. And this is how in 2025, this year, I made the most money trading stocks and ETFs that I've ever made ever in the stock market. And I know that we were in a bull market. I understand that. But regardless of the bull market or not, it was TSLL. Forget all the other names. Forget that it was a bull market. Forget that everything was moving up. I didn't need anything to move up. I didn't need a single stock to move up. TSLL was stuck. It was stuck in a $10 to $12. It was just moving $10 to $12. It might drop a little under 10. It might go a little over 12, but it was just stuck in that range. And the IV is so high that that's all we were doing. We were just selling puts, selling puts, selling puts. Every once in a while, I would get assigned some shares. Most of the shares I was assigned was from back in March and April. No, April and May, when the tariff news came out and the stock market dropped. I was out of town. I was out of the country, so I wasn't like actively watching the market. I could just see that it was tanking, and so I just let all of them get assigned, and I'm so happy I did, because I got assigned a bunch of shares and I ended up with 2,900 shares of TSLL. And that is what made my October the most profitable month I've ever had in the stock market, because I had all those shares. TSLL ran up September, October, and I was offloading those shares at a $12 cost basis. So October, which I'll go into later, was my most profitable month in the stock market ever. But the year overall was due to TSLL just sitting in that range and not moving. And I mean, y'all could go back at my subscriber only posts on X and you can see that I was actually posting saying, guys, I know this is boring. I know TSLL isn't moving. It's just sitting here. And it's boring. It's boring to watch a stock that's going to sit there at $10 to $12 while we're in a bull market and everything else is flying. TSLL or Tesla and AMD were the only two big stocks that weren't moving. The whole rest of the market was flying. And I was like, it doesn't matter. This is a gift to us as long as it sits in this range. We are just going to sit here and make money. And if you're bored, go do some day trading, go do some other stuff. In the meantime, though, keep as much money as you can in TSLL and just make money. It was just too easy, because eventually it was going to break out. Eventually it was going to fly up, which is what it did, or it was going to drop back down to 6. And if it dropped to 6, hey, I kept telling everybody, keep money on the sidelines. We can trade it at 6, just as easy as we can trade it at 12. But of course, it ran up, which was great, and that's how we made money there. Okay, so let me see what you guys have to say first. MSTU did a nightmare split. Yeah, MSTU split. I think it'll actually be a good thing. I know that it doesn't sound good, and let's see. I know it doesn't seem good, and I know that MSTU dropped like $1. It was a terrible, terrible trade. I'm holding on, and once it settles a little bit, right now, just this week, it's just kind of it's going to sit there for a minute and just kind of do its thing. It'll still go up if MSTR goes up and Bitcoin goes up and everything like that, but as far as the options and all of that, it's going to have to settle for a minute. So next week we'll get back into it. You can, buy a couple of shares here and there. If you want to be a little riskier, you could even sell cash secured puts. But regardless, just average down. Buy a couple of shares here, buy a couple of shares there, and let's try to get your average down. Of course, we're also going to sell covered calls, and I'm going to do a whole thing next week on how we're going to sell covered calls with MSTU. If you have enough shares, we can sell under our cost bases. There's a lot of ways we can work this, and I'm going to actively show you how, because I've got a lot of shares as well. So we'll make money on it. Don't worry. Again, unless you are a Bitcoin bear, you don't have to worry. It will eventually move up. I don't know how soon, and I know it sucks to have your money tied up, but it's just a part of the market. So we just have to wait. I've told you guys about the story when I was stuck in TSLL in 2023. I was stuck for 7 months. 7 months. All of my money was tied up because I had cash secured puts. I was assigned shares at 15, which 15 sounds great now. It wasn't great then when Tesla got all this bad news and TSLL dropped to 6. So it was trading between $6 and $8. I was stuck at 15. I couldn't sell covered calls. I had no additional money. I just had to sit there, let my money sit there for 7 months. And all this bearish news on Tesla. I mean, Tesla could not catch a break. Elon could not catch a break. And then it got its day, and it ran up from $6 to $8. It sat around 16 for a minute, and then it went straight to 41. So be patient. MSTR is not going to zero. Bitcoin's not going to zero. We'll make money on this eventually. It just sucks having to sit there. I know, I understand. Okay, Matt, has anyone traded ONDS at all? No, I can look into it and see if it's something that might be good for all of us to jump into, but I'll look at that. I keep rolling bull cash secured puts out and down in a bear market. My cost basis dropped from 1050 to 830. Keep rolling lower basis strategy. Am I digging a deeper hole? Either way, I own a lot of bull shares. Let's see what my cost basis is. My cost basis is $10.66, and I'm easily selling $11 covered calls. So it's completely up to you. Right now in my large account, I've got 1,600 shares at 1066. I've got 4 $11 covered calls expiring tomorrow. I'll make like $50 on that trade. I've got 8 of them expiring next Friday, which I will make, depending on if we run up or not, I'll make $88. And then I've got 4 $11.50 covered calls expiring on the 19th, but I got paid $40 for those. So bull is still a good one for wheeling. I'm in it. I'm happy with it. I'm not selling any puts on it right now just because I've got so many shares, but I'm selling covered calls and making weekly income. So, I mean, if you could get assigned shares and I'm making $50 a week on these covered calls. So I'll just continue doing that until it runs up. And when it runs up, it's, going to do like the other ones, and like RCAT did today, and run up, 10% a day because it got some good news or earnings or something. And then I'll regret that I sold $11 covered calls. I always tell you guys not to sell against your full position. And, I want to go up $1 on my shares, which would be $11.66 to sell. But because I have so many shares and I'm not super bullish on bull. I'm just using it as a name to wheel. I don't mind losing the shares, and then I'll just go and sell some more cash secured puts. because my focus is on TSLL and BBAI. Bull is just an extra one, so I'm just going to make what I can on it, and I'll let the shares go when it's time. So, Lori, I would just go ahead and I would just. I mean, I don't want to tell you to get assigned, because if you get assigned and you know, bull drops or the overall market drops and you're stuck in the shares, it's really going to just depend on your risk tolerance. It's going to depend on how many shares you have or will end up with, and it's going to depend on if you are diversified, if you're in other trades. So I'll be more than happy to help you with that if you want to DM me, and we can go over, you know, specifics, because it's not one size fits all. I'm perfectly happy owning 1,600 shares because I still have $100,000 to trade with. That's including my margin. I do use margin. So I still have $100,000 to trade with. So it's not going to affect any future trading for me. If it's all the money I had, I would actively be trying to get out of it. I wouldn't want to hold 1,600 shares. So, you know, it depends on a lot of factors. Okay, audio dropped and it's back. Okay, y'all, this is just so annoying, but it's still better than Spaces. Spaces is just terrible. MSTU, hold on for too long. Yes, that's true. MSTU and BMNU, which is terrible, terrible, terrible. Do you sell weekly or monthly options? I do both. I very rarely do weeklies, but I don't necessarily go monthly either. Here's what I do, and this is not any kind of special analysis or anything fancy, but this is what I do. I'm going to use BBAI as an example. My sweet spot, I have a sweet spot for every single stock or ETF that I'm in, and I have a plan when I get into the trade. And I have a very specific plan. It doesn't always stick. The plan can change because the market changes, but I do have a plan. So my plan with BBAI is it has a sweet spot of $6 to $8. And I get that sweet spot because BBAI can go from 4 to 10 in a regular market, $4 to $10. So 6 to 8 is right in the middle of that. So I like to own shares at $6 or less, of course, the lower the better. And I like to sell covered calls at $8. Sometimes I'll do 7, sometimes I'll do 7.50, whatever. But for the most part, $8. So $6 to $8. So if I want to go out right now and I want to sell $8 covered calls on my BBAI shares, which I own 1,352 shares, I would go and look at expiration dates. So I know I want to sell an $8 covered call because we're at 682 right now. So some $8 covered calls will probably pay pretty well. But if I look at this Friday, tomorrow, it's not going to pay me anything. If I go to next Friday, it may pay me, I don't know, I'm not looking at it right now, but it may pay me, let's say, $10 or $12, which is fine. You're talking about a $6 stock here. We're not talking anything expensive. And then I'll go out to the next one. If that one is paying me $20, well, hey, I'll just go with that one. I'm in no rush. I'd rather make $20 than make, $7 on a contract, obviously. So I pick my strike first, and then I pick my expiration from that. So fairly easy. I try to keep it very simple because I only trade these names. I know the sweet spots. I know where I want to get shares. I know where I want to lose shares. I know how much profit I want to make on my shares. So with these 1,352 shares of BBAI, in the end of this, I want to collect $2,700 profit. That's not including covered call premiums that I'm receiving along the way. That's just my shares. It also does not include the premiums that I received when I was selling the cash secured puts on these. Doesn't or the covered calls. It does not. It's no premiums. It's just what I want to make off these 1,300 shares. And if it runs to $8 and I lose all my shares and my cost basis is under 6, I'll make $2,700. So that's my plan with BBAI. Whether it'll happen, I don't know. We may not hit 8 for 2 years, and that's okay. I'll continue selling covered calls and collecting premium. So either way, I'm making money. If it drops back down under 6, I'll make money on the covered calls that I have right now, and I'll sell more cash secured puts to either bring my average down or collect more premium. So that's the wheel. That's the wheel in a nutshell. Whether the stock goes up, whether the stock goes down, you're making money. The end result is to sell your shares that you end up owning at the price point that you have planned. So my price point to sell my shares is $8. If it happens to go above $8, well, great. I've got some left uncovered that I'll take advantage of. But for the most part, my plan is to make $2,700 on my 1,352 shares. I ended up with the 1,352 is because I wanted to create an odd lot. So every time the BBAI drops below my average cost, I add a couple of shares. I'll add 2 or 3 shares, just simple, just a few little shares here and there. And that gives me that odd lot. So if I sell covered calls against my full position, I still have those 52 uncovered. So, and I'm not selling covered calls against my full position though. Hey guys, glad you made it to the party. Even if you're late, it's fine. No big deal. And if you wanted to go back and listen to the beginning, of course you can later. Okay, so go in with a plan. That's all I can say. You know, TSLL, I traded it for so long. I said I wanted to get in under 12, preferably under 10, and I wanted to ride it up to 20. That was my plan. I knew it could go to 20. It's been to 41. Do I think it'll go to 41 again? No, I don't. It could. I doubt it. I'm definitely not going to hold shares hoping and praying we get to 41 again. That's just probably never going to happen, because it's not the fact that Tesla won't run up, but TSLL resets daily. So it's not like if Tesla ran up in a year, this is going to double that. No, Tesla would have to run up extremely, extremely fast. I mean, it would have to run from here up to like $800 in a week for this thing to run to 41. I mean, and I'm just making up numbers. I'm being dramatic, but it would have to run very fast for TSLL to move that quickly up to 41. But hey, it's happened before. I'm not saying it can't happen again, but it's I wouldn't count on it. So I really just wanted to hold to 20, and we got up to 23, and then we dropped back down. So I did sell quite a bit of mine at 23, and it felt so good, y'all. I cannot even tell you how good it feels to own shares at $12 and sell 100 shares and make over $1,000. I mean, you just can't. I cannot recreate that feeling. I mean, it's just amazing, and I knew it was going to happen. I was just waiting for it. So when it finally happened, I took full advantage. So I've only got 300 shares left now, and I might lose 100 of those tomorrow because I have a $20 covered call, which is fine. I'll take an $800 profit on that. So my future plans for TSLL is to get back in as many shares as I can for 2026 under $14. I would say under 12, but I want to be realistic with where we're at right now. And if we continue with a bull market, chances of getting in at 12 are very slim. So that is my future plan. I just want to go get in as heavily as I can. I would like to try to go for 5,000 shares again. That was my goal. I didn't make it because it ran up too fast, but that's my goal. So I would like to, and I would love for you guys to join me on this. Try to get as many TSLL shares as you can under $14. And then if we drop, let's say you do get assigned at 14, and then we drop down to 10 for some reason. Great. Let's buy more and get that average down. That's exactly what happened to me in 2025. I mean, at first I was assigned shares at $13, $14. Then it dropped and I was assigned shares at $7 and $8, and it all averaged out to 12. So, you know, just keep that up. Let's see, just put in BBAI CCs. Good. Good girl. I like to see you wheeling. Y'all do not hesitate. We are not investors here. Here, you can be an investor. I'm an investor on the side. But here in my subscription, we're not talking about investing. I am not going to sit here and tell you guys, hey, you should be buying VOO and SCHG and the things that I'm buying on the sidelines weekly. That's not what we're discussing here. We're keeping these trades and we're keeping them moving. We want consistent income on the way up, the way down, sell the shares. We want to be making money every single week on this, on these wheels. And that's why I've picked the names that I've picked. None of the stocks that I'm trading here are in my long-term portfolio. None of them. Tesla is, but not TSLL. AMD was, but I got out. It's just a little much for me. It was too. I'm happy. I'm comfortable with Tesla. I'm not comfortable with AMD. I know that's weird, but it's too volatile for me. Okay, so next, new traders. I've got quite a few new traders in my subscription. I want you to understand your risk tolerance before you go into any trade. If I mention a leveraged ETF, which is most of the TSLL, AMDL, SOXL, CONL, those kind of things, the MSTU, BMNU, just understand these are leveraged and they are highly volatile and high risk trades. Now, for me, they're not high risk. If I'm talking high risk, I think it's more like I'm not day trading. To me, day trading is super high risk. So selling puts on a leveraged ETF, to me, is not super risky. If you're new or you are not comfortable with trading yet, don't go for those. If you see that I've posted that, don't do it. Stick with stocks, regular stocks, BBAI, BULL, RCAT. What else do I have? Those might EOSE. These are just, stick with those for now, especially BBAI being so cheap. Sell a contract of BBAI and learn. Don't go jumping into BMNU, please, or MSTU or any of these. Please, please, please don't do that. So know your risk tolerance and don't chase high IV. Somebody posted in the Discord chat today that what was it? They were asking why a premium was so high on a stock, and it was a healthcare stock, which those are very volatile anyway. And the IV was like 430 something %, and I was like, that's why, which means you can get your ass handed to you real fast. So don't chase high IV. I've done it, and I even did it recently on BMNU. But I am a Ethereum bull, so it was risky, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to hold because I am bullish on crypto. We just got in at the wrong time because, of course, Ethereum tanked right after we got in. So just understand your risk tolerance and try to stick with the boring, slower stocks at first, because if you jump into some of these and they don't go our way, like MSTU, it can leave a bad taste in your mouth and you might quit. Experienced traders are like, we'll wait. The new traders, it can really, really make you feel like you don't want to trade anymore. So just be careful there and keep that in mind. Around 100% IV is considered high. I know that like 90 to anything above 100, above 90 is considered high IV, in my opinion. If you look at like Apple and Amazon and some of the really, really good long-term holding stocks, they're not heavily traded. They're bought and held. So the IV is very low on those. I mean, if you look at the IV, it's like literally 20, 30%. Okay, because it's just not a super volatile stock. And a lot of people still sell puts on those, hoping to get a sign and hold long term. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually a great idea. But if you're just actively trading and trying to collect premium like we are here, you don't want a 23% IV. You're just not going to make any money on that. So around 100 for me is comfortable and a good IV. Again, as I said, we're in choppy markets here. Going into a new year, you never know what's going to happen. So please make sure you're trading accordingly and you're selling covered calls on your shares that you own. And if it's not something you are comfortable owning, you need to roll your cash secured puts out. Go ahead and roll them out. Roll them out into January, February. Like get them out, like further out. Don't try to sit here and roll every week. It's not going to do much for you. Like go ahead and get it out there, and try to lower your strike. Going into the new year, you just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know. People sell off. There's all kinds of things that can happen. But what I will say, and this is my opinion, I don't have a crystal ball, but Trump has said numerous times that he is not going to that we're going to go out of this with a bull market. He's not going to let this market tank because it just makes him look bad. And he doesn't want to look bad. We all know that. If there's anything we can all agree on with Trump, he does not want to look bad. He's prideful, and whether you like him or hate him, We all know he's a prideful man, and he's not going to let this market drop, crash. It's going to have its ups and downs as usual, but he's not going to let this thing crash or go into a bear market while he's in office. And I know he's only got so much power, but the power that he has and the power that his friends have that also don't want the market going down, I just don't think it's going to happen. But it always can, but I just don't see it happening. So I'm not too concerned with like a bear market at this point. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, anybody have any questions? Also, could you guys give this video a thumbs up if you're on here? Just hit the thumbs up. Okay, next thing is, let's see, I agree 100%. President supports the market. Yeah, I mean, his whole, like, when he was running, he was talking about the market. I'll have the market up. When I was in office the time before, last time the market was at all-time highs, blah, 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 blah. So he's not going to let it happen because he cares about what he looks like. And obviously he cares about his money too. And I guarantee when these markets tank because Elon says something or he says something or tariff news, he and his friends are buying heavily. I guarantee it. So we need to be on that side of things. And just a little gossip here. I think back a few months ago when Elon and Trump were arguing and Trump, Elon was posting all this stuff about Trump on Twitter and all this stuff. In my opinion, that was all a setup. There's just no way these two grown ass, very intelligent men were on Twitter arguing about stupid stuff. And calling each other retarded and just bad language and all. There's just no way that was actually happening. So in my opinion, they were trying to bring stocks down, trying to bring Tesla down so that they could buy. So my opinion, but watch out for things like this and go in when you see it happening. Regardless of what Trump might be or not, keep in mind the fact that a crash can occur anytime for any reason. No, I agree. I agree 100%. A war could break out. I mean, there's so many, we could go into, a recession. There's so many things that can happen in the world that could make the market crash. Absolutely. Trump only has so much power, but he will do everything in his power to keep it up. So, never, ever put all your money in the stock market. Never. Whether it's trading or investing, never. I've got a high yield savings account with a whole year's worth of our living expenses for my entire family sitting in a high yield savings account. So sure, it's making high yield, but it's not making anything anywhere near what I could be making if I was trading with that money. So, but I want to keep it safe because like you said, we have go into a stock market crash, anything can happen and I don't want all my money in that tied up. So you're exactly right. Always have a plan and be prepared for anything. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, this is just obviously for my subscribers and on X and kind of our watch list. So for a while I was strictly in TSLL. I had a little BBAI on the side, a couple other little things on the side, but I mean, I was trading TSLL with over $85,000, minimum $85,000, because it was so low. It was at the $10 to $12 sweet spot. Then it ran up, and I want to be able to continue trading, so I started jumping in different names. I feel like I'm in too many names right now, so I'm actively trying to get out of some without a loss. So as of right now, I have shares in. I'm going to go over this. TSLL, BBAI, perfectly happy with those. Not any rush to let them go. Love them. I only have 100 shares of HIMZ, HIMZ, because I was testing it out. When I lose those shares, I'm going to stay out of that name only because I'm in so many others. I'm not saying I won't revisit, but that's the only reason because I'm in so many others. I've got RCAT shares. I've got SOXL shares that I've been holding for a long time. I'm way up on those. But I'm right now just selling some covered calls with them. I'm definitely not selling cash secured puts, and I would not recommend selling puts or buying shares at this cost basis. Trying out EOSE. For the heck of it, I think I did 2 contracts just because I've seen a lot of people trading it. It's also a good long-term hold if you did get stuck with the shares. I sold 2 $12 puts for $12.19 and I'm up 50%. So it's doing well. I don't know that I'll jump back into it unless I can get out of some of these other names. So my terrible, terrible stocks I'm in right now, or names I'm in right now, are BMNU, MSTU, CONL, CleanSpark, and Mara. They're all crypto related stocks and I want out. So I am selling aggressive. I've had Mara and CleanSpark for a very long time. And I've done well on them. So I'm not downing them. I'm doing okay on them. I'm selling covered calls on them. It's fine. But I do want out because I want my buying power back for TSLL and BBAI. So I'm selling aggressive covered calls with all of those, including BMNU, not MSTU yet. I do have some covered calls that I sold before the split that, of course, I'm going to hold. But once that settles, I'll be selling aggressive covered calls on those as well. Any of you that want out, like you're about to sell and take a loss, okay, you're over it, you want out. Don't sell your shares directly and take a loss. At least sell some covered calls under your cost basis. And then if you lose your shares due to that, then you lost your shares and that's fine. But if you don't lose your shares, you can continue collecting premium. So you might as well collect premium along the way versus just taking the loss. So just my opinion, but I can help you with that if you need help. So I've got CleanSpark and Mara. Let's see, I made a killing on EOSE. I added that one to my personal holdings as well. Oh, $5. That's great. That's really good. So yeah, so that's my plan with all of those. heavily going into 2026 with TSLL and BBAI. I'd like to continue with AMDL on any pullbacks. I've got shares, covered calls, and cash secured puts. I've got a very small wheel with that. I've got a small wheel with Bull and RCAT. SOXL, I don't have a wheel. I'm just trying to get out of my shares eventually with covered calls. So, guys, never hesitate to DM me and ask questions. Don't ever hesitate because I'm here to help. And I swear I could talk stock market all day long. I could sit here on this YouTube and just talk all day long about it because I love it. So it's my hobby. I love making money and I love helping other people make money. So I do not mind you asking questions. You're never bothering me. I mean, I may not be able to reply in 5 minutes, but I will reply and you're not bothering me. So just know that. Guys, anybody that is trading, any other names that I did not mention just now, can you just put it down here in the comments so I can just kind of see what it is? If anybody's listening to this later, you can still put the comment, you can still comment on this. It won't be in the chat, but it'll be on the comments and I'll get it and I would still like to read it. Okay, so I'm going to go into my 2025 profits. So anybody that doesn't want to hear it can drop off. But if you do want to hear it, then I would love to tell you the ups and the downs of 2025. So in January, I had done the same thing I'm kind of doing this year. In 2024, I sold a lot of cash secured puts for 2025, kind of like I'm doing right now. I wanted to kind of push it out. Like, you know, any money that you're making right now in December, you're gonna have to pay taxes on this year. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna try to push some of this out. Last year, I said I'm gonna try to push some of this out to 2025, and I did. So it ended up being a very, very lucrative month due to that, and it was a 5-week month. So keep that in mind. If you look at your calendar, there are weeks that are 5 weeks. It was January, July, and October. And May, we had 5-week months. So, you know, you do have to consider that when you're looking at your profits. So in January 2025, I made $13,964. And that's closed positions. That's cash secured puts, covered calls, and selling shares. Maybe losing shares with covered calls, whatever, selling shares. But in January 2025, $13,964. I was over the moon. I was so happy. And I was like, I'm not going to try to set my bar there because that's not realistic for the size of my portfolio. It's just because I had pushed a bunch of December, what could have been a December expiration, out to January. So, like right now, I could open a December 26th expiration on something, or I could go ahead and do a January 2nd, January 9th, and push that out to January. And then I won't have to pay taxes on my gains until 2026. So, anyway, just kind of keep that in mind. In February, it was only 4 weeks. I made $4,200. So good month. I'll take it. I mean, that's $1,000 a month. So closed positions, full profit, $1,000 a month. I'll take it. You won't hear me complain. In March, that's when we got that market drop from the tariff news. I closed out some positions and just kind of took a loss because I was going to just wait a minute and let things settle and then get back in with cash secured puts with a lower cost basis. But I wanted to see how low we were going to go, which we did go even lower in April. So it was a good move, but I took a $1,300 loss that month. So overall, March 2025, I took a $1,358 loss. I made nothing that month and took a loss, an intentional loss. So I wasn't crying about it. I wasn't upset about it. I did feel like it was a waste of a month. But again, you can't help what the market's doing. And I wasn't going to get stuck in a market crash. So it's okay. No problem. Can you share how much capital you made? How much capital you made these returns? Like how much capital I used to make these returns? Yes, I can. I'll post it for you guys because I'd have to go back and look at my spreadsheets. And I don't want to like waste everybody's time on here, but I can definitely for sure tell you exactly how much capital was used. So in April, so March, I took a loss, a small loss, $1,300. In April, it was a 4-week month. I made $464. Like it was nothing for the whole month. That's $100 a week. But we were recovering from March. Again, like I took that loss and then I sold a bunch of cash secured puts. I didn't sell them for April. I sold a lot of them for May and went out to June. I just went out a little further with my expiration dates to be safe. So in April, I made 464 whopping dollars in the stock market. In May, it was a 5-week month and I made 2,500. So again, I'm not going to complain, but we were recovering. I mean, when a market drops like that, like it did so quickly, it takes a minute to recover, but it doesn't mean you can't. So although those 3 months, I'm not going to brag about my profits, it paid off later, which I'll get to. So being assigned shares, being patient, going further out with your expiration dates, keeping your sweet spot where it is, and going further out with your expiration dates is the key to a market drop. So that's what I did, and it worked. So then we'll go into June. It was a 4-week month. I made almost $6,000, a little under $6,000. Perfect. $6,000 month, I'm in. My goal is to make $5,000 a month, and I can do that easily, I feel like. So to make $6,000, I was happy. July was a 5-week month. I made $10,600, but it was 5 weeks. So that is $2,000 a week. It doesn't mean I made $2,000 a week. I may have made $6,004, whatever. But the whole month of July, 5-week month, was $10,000. August was a 5-week month. I made $5,800. So that's my goal, $5,000 a month. September was a 4-week month. A lot of the cash secured puts that I had sold during the slower months, I pushed out to August, September, October. September, October, November. So August, I just said that one. August, I that. September was a 4-week month. I made $13,000 in September. Now that is when TSLL ran up. So I was able to close out a bunch of cash secured puts. I got some of my shares called away. Profitable month, $13,000 in September. I do want to be completely transparent and tell you guys that I had 2 Amazon leaps that expired in September. And they did not do well. Amazon did not move up. The reason I bought Leaps is because I was bullish on Amazon, which I still am. And I bought them, the year before. I was really hoping for a move up, and they did not move up. But the fact that I had bought them so far out, I paid $1,500 per contract or something, 16, whatever. So I took a $3,200 loss on those Leaps. So whereas I made $1,300, 169, and then I took a $3,200 loss. So that was in September. So I ended up making $9,900. I'm not going to complain. I bought the Leap. I waited it out, and I should have closed it at 50%, but I just still had hope for Amazon being in a bull market. It didn't perform, obviously. I'm pretty much done with Leaps. I've learned my lesson. October was a 5-week month, and this is the best month I've ever had in the stock market. I made $17,848 in October. Now, it was a 5-week month. It was also due to the fact that TSLL ran up from, the $10 to $12 all the way up to $23. I sold a bunch of shares. I had a bunch called away with covered calls. I had 50-something cash secured puts that all expired worthless. I mean, it was amazing. It was what I had waited all year for. So October, I made $17,848. So that was a great month. November was last month, 4-week month. I made $6,889. So, my goal was $5,000 a month, and I definitely achieved that. If you add it all up, I definitely achieved that. I've made well over $50,000 this year. And then December's here now, so I will update everyone on my full year when I'm done, when the year's done. But do keep that in mind about selling your contracts into January, so you can save a little bit. If you're a person that's selling 1 or 2 contracts, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. But if you're a person that's going in with 20 contracts, push them out till January so that you can pay taxes on it next year. Unless you've done, unless you've got some tax loss harvesting you can do to offset it, I would just push it out to 2026 and see what you can do. So anyway, anybody have any questions? If so, go ahead and let me know, and we can. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it. I will let you guys go. We've been on about an hour. If no one else has any questions or comments, I guess we're all done. I hope this updated everyone. I will post this out so that everybody can re-listen if they want to. I want everybody to listen just so they're caught up with everything that's going on in our community. It's helpful, just to everybody know. Also, make sure you're subscribed here. I sold way too early on TSSI. Oh, you sold your shares? Hey, Knoxville. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Also, let's make our 2026 plans. Like everybody needs to have a plan, and I can help you with that. So if you need a little help, please DM me, or if you just want to even do it in the group, you can hear different opinions. Everybody's got different ways of trading and different opinions on things, and it's good to hear all sides of things. I'm not always right. I'm not the best trader in the world. I don't know more than anyone else. So it's always good to hear other people's opinions and views and the way they trade, because I have my way, they have their way, and sometimes we can all just kind of intermingle and make our own way, and it's really, really helpful to listen to other people. So I will let you guys go. I'll be over in the chat, and if you have any questions, you just let me know. I'll be around. Thanks for joining.